जय गुरु जी संगत जी। गुरु जी की आज्ञा से आज की शुरुआत करते हुए firstly we would like to do the recap. Yesterday we learned that sages are treated very, very nicely by the villagers. They are very, very golden hearted people because they give free food and shelter to the sages. And then we came to know about the Himalayas, that different languages are spoken in different parts of Himalayas. As you know, hundreds of communities and nationalities reside there. And the month of July is apt month, if somebody really wants to go there. Month of July is the finest month for traveling in Himalayas, as during that time the snow and the glaciers are melting. And then we came to know about the followers of Taoism and Confucianism love the Himalayas. And then we also learned how Swami Ramaji lived for 45 years in Himalayas. He spent his 45 years out there with the sages, and his experiences with the divine masters. And Swamiji's Gurudeva had an abundant grace on him, and he showered his, abundant blessings on him. And then we learned how his master came down from Himalayas to visit his parents and to aware them of his birth, so that later he could take Swamiji with him. And his master had already decided that through this couple, this beautiful soul would come, he would take birth. And his parents never thought of having a child at that age, but it was blessing of Swamiji, and they could be used as a beautiful medium for such a beautiful soul to descend on earth. And then when he was born, master came to meet him. And then 3 years later, he came and initiated a mantra by whispering in his right ear. And the mantra which Swamiji already knew, because that mantra he must have heard or, learned in his last lifetime or previous lifetime. So Swamiji, from the birth only, he knew his very purpose of life. And at an early age only, his mission was, his mission was to, fulfill the spiritual mission, and which must have remained unfulfilled in the previous life. So he remembered all the details of his past life. And then we learned that Swamiji, when Swami Ramaji's parents died, he went to his master, where he was disciplined. And Swamiji considered his master as his real father. His master knew all his thoughts, and he made him aware of his thoughts, but his master never ever controlled his thoughts. He treated him very, very gently. And Swamiji told us about the quality of a true master, that true master loves his disciples no matter what. He loves them selflessly and gives knowledge from direct experience. And master, we came to know about master's divine love, that which can be only realized by heart, not by mind. And because mind can never comprehend it. And his master remained in Sahaj Samadhi, spoke very little. He had goat's milk and Shama cow's milk as his only food. Then we came to know about a story also, about a prince, how, his wife and her paramour, decided to kill him by giving him, injections of venom, and, where they had this evil plan to kill him. But Swamiji's master, with his grace, he was alive. And then we also came to know that how he became disciple of his master, and how finally he regained his possession of his property. But a year after only, he died. He left this earthly abode. And then we also learned beautiful things, that name and fame are the greatest barriers, and bring downfall for a spiritual man. And then we learned how, people from Western, they spend a lot of money because their sole purpose was to, search yetis or snowmen and Shangri-La, but it turned out all in vain. And then we learned how they lived in caves and what they had, what they what they ate, sorry. And then we learned that, work should be done selflessly, and we should work or help others without, seeking anything in return. And because it provides the highest of, it provides you immense joy. And then we also learned that teachers do take tests of students because they want to see, what all they have acquired and to instill self-discipline and self-reliance in them. And from now, the next chapter we got on read is an all-night journey through the forest. Then Swamiji says, on the way to Nepal from Tanakpur, we stayed in a forest. My master said, let us eat something. It was 2 o'clock in the morning. He said, go to the shop in Thanakpur. It is 12 miles away along the forest path. There was another Swami with us. He also had a disciple. He asked my master, why are you sending him at night? I would not send my boy who is with me. My master said, be quiet. You are making him a sissy and not a Swami. I'm training this boy, he must go. So, Swami Ramaji's master really wanted him to be really, really valiant, courageous, a strong boy. And, he would just send him any time of the day, because he didn't want him to be a sissy and a coward kind of boy and a timid kind of boy. Then he said to me, come here, son, hold this lantern. It has enough oil. Keep matches in your pocket, have a staff in your hand, wear your shoes, go to the food grain shop and get enough groceries for 3 or 4 days. I said, okay, and left. Many times during that long night, tigers and snakes crossed the path in front of me. The grass on both sides, elephant grass, was very tall, much higher than I. I heard many noises in the grass, but I couldn't know their cause. With my small lantern, I walked 12 miles to the shop and then came back with the supplies at 7 in the morning. So just see what kind of terrible creatures came in his way. But Swamiji was a very self-controlled man, and he just through this we can only make out that how courageous he must be. Okay, my master asked, how are you? And I began to tell him all that had happened on the way. Finally, he said, that's enough. Let's prepare the food. Fearlessness is also an essential prerequisite for attaining enlightenment. Great are those who are always fearless. To be completely free from all fears is one step on the path of enlightenment. तो मास्टर्स उनको इस तरह से काम भेजते भी होंगे ताकि ये fearless बन जाए. No fear should take place in his mind. And Swamiji seemed to be quite obedient, and he didn't care much of snakes and tigers on the way. Okay, next is crossing a flooded river. Students are many, disciples are few. ये बहुत सही बात है. गुरुजी की भी जैसे कहते हैं ना, जो सच्चे संगत है वो बहुत कम होगी, जितना गुरुजी कहते हैं ना, भीड़ तो बहुत होती है. Students are many, disciples are few. Many students came to my master and requested, please accept me as your disciple. They all showed their faithfulness by serving him, by chanting, by learning, and by practicing disciplines. He did not respond. One day I called everyone to him. There were 20 students. He said, let's go. Everyone followed him to the bank of Tungabhadra River in South India. It was in full flood, very wide and dangerous. He said, he who can cross this river is my disciple. One student said, sir, I can do it, but I have to go back to finish my work. Another student said, sir, I don't know how to swim. I didn't say anything. As soon as he said it, I jumped. So just see the obedience of Swamiji. जैसे उनके मन में कोई विचार नहीं आया, किसी ने कोई बहाना मारा भी मुझे काम खत्म करना है, किसी ने कुछ मारा, but Swamiji just pounced. He just jumped into the river without giving it a second thought. He sat down quietly as I crossed the river. It was very wide. There were many crocodiles and huge logs were rolling with the currents of water. But I was not concerned. My mind was one pointed on completing the challenge I was given. I love to be challenged, and I always accepted a challenge joyfully. It was a source of inspiration for me to examine my own strength. Whenever I was tired, I would float, and in this way, I succeeded in crossing the river. So Swamiji just took it as a challenge. His sole purpose was to, I have to kind of accomplish my challenge no matter what. My master said to the other students, he didn't say that he was my disciple, but he jumped. I was close enough to know his power. I thought he wants his disciples to cross the river. Here I am. I can do it. It's nothing because he is here. Why can't I do it? So firm were my faith and determination. तो स्वामी जी कहते हैं मुझे क्या डर जब मेरा मास्टर इधर है. तो उनका जो faith and determination, it was quite invincible. Faith and determination, these two are essential rungs on the ladder of enlightenment. Without them, the word enlightenment can be written and spoken, but never realized. Without faith, we can attain some degree of intellectual knowledge, but only with faith can we see into the most subtle chambers of our being. Determination is the power that sees us through all frustrations and obstacles. It helps in building willpower, which is very basis of success within and without. It is said in the scriptures that with the help of Sankalpa Shakti, the power of determination, nothing is impossible. Behind all the great works done by the great leaders of the world stands this Shakti. With this power behind him, such a leader says, I will do it. I have to do it. I have the means to do it. When the power of determination is not interrupted, one inevitably attains the desired goal. तो इसमें स्वामी जी ने हमें फेथ के साथ डिटर्मिनेशन के लिए भी बताया है कि सिर्फ फेथ से कुछ नहीं ना होना, उसके साथ आपकी संकल्प शक्ति भी होनी चाहिए. उसके साथ अगर आप में एक दृढ़ निश्चय है कि हाँ ये चीज मेरे से होगी, मैं कर लूंगा या मैं आगे बढ़ूंगी, तो जब संकल्प शक्ति भी साथ में हो जाती है, it's like icing on the cake. So that's beautiful thing through this lesson we learned about the faith and determination. और उससे पहले जो हमने सीखा कि जब उनके मास्टर ने बोला कि जो भी इस नदी को पार करेगा और जो भी है, हालांकि वो नदी बड़ी मतलब देखने में डेंजरस थी, पर स्वामी रामा जी ने कुछ नहीं सोचा. He just obeyed him. तो जो रियल डिसाइपल के ये भी लक्षण होते हैं कि they obey their master without thinking any pros and cons. Okay. Now, next is my offering to my master. What did I offer my master? I will tell you. When I received my second step of initiation at the age of 15, I had nothing with me, I thought. All these rich people come with baskets of fruit, flowers, and money to offer to their teachers, but I have nothing to give. I asked my master, so what is the best thing for me to offer? He said to me, bring me a bundle of dry sticks. अभी पता नहीं शायद वो पिछली किताब में सत्संग किया था या कहीं और किया था. तो जैसे ये किताब काफी साल पहले की मैंने पढ़ी थी, तो इंस्टेंटली वही मेरे दिमाग में आई थी. कुछ ना कुछ बातें याद रह जाती हैं कि जब पुराने जमाने में जब उन्होंने कुछ ऐसे अपने मास्टर को हमेशा एक बंडल ऑफ स्टिक्स देते थे, और बंडल ऑफ स्टिक्स देने का मतलब था कि मैंने अपने आप को अर्पण कर दिया और मेरा जो भी पास्ट है वो आप बस जला दें. So it just reminded me, instantly when I came to this, line. I asked my master, so what is the best thing for me to offer? He said to me, bring me a bundle of dry sticks. I thought, surely if someone brings such sticks to his teachers will kick him. But I did as he instructed. I brought him a bundle of dry sticks, and he said, offer it to me with all your heart, mind, and soul. I looked at him and thought, he's so wise and educated. What has happened to him today? He said, this is the greatest gift that you can ever give me. People want to give me gold, silver, land, a house. These valuables mean nothing to me. My master explained that when you offer a bundle of dry sticks to a guru, he understands you are prepared to tread the path of enlightenment. It means, please relieve me from my past and burn all my negative thinking in the fire of knowledge. He said, I'll burn these dry sticks so that your past karmas do not affect your future. Now I'm giving you a new life. Do not live in the past. Live here and now and start treading the path of light. Most people brood on the past and do not know how to live here and now. That is the cause of their suffering. So इस चैप्टर में यही सीखने को मिला है ना कि एक तो अपने वो गुरु को कैसे अर्पण करते हैं बंडल ऑफ ड्राई स्टिक्स, और उसको ऑफर करने का मतलब है कि जो भी है, माय मास्टर प्लीज रिलीव मी फ्रॉम माय पास्ट, और जितनी भी मेरी नेगेटिव थिंकिंग है इस आप जो भी इस लकड़ियों को जब जलाएंगे उसमें आप बर्न कर दीजिए. और उनके मास्टर भी यही कहते लोग मुझे सोना देते हैं, सिल्वर देते हैं, लैंड देते हैं, घर देते हैं, ये इन चीजों का मेरे लिए क्या मतलब है? क्योंकि ट्रू मास्टर्स के लिए इन चीजों को कोई भी मतलब नहीं है. कहते हैं ना, अपने मास्टर को अपना अहंकार अर्पण कर दो, सब कुछ. एक तो नेगेटिव प्रवृत्तियां कर दो ऑफर, उसके अलावा सरेंडर ऑफर करो. एंड देन लास्ट में जो हमने पढ़ा है कि सम पीपल लिव इन पास्ट, ब्रूड ऑन द पास्ट, उसका कोई फायदा नहीं है. यस, पास्ट से लेसन जरूर सीखने चाहिए, क्योंकि पास्ट कोई भी ऐसी चीज आपके साथ हुई हो आप बार बार सोचेंगे वो आपको दुख ही देगा. इट्स डिफिकल्ट, आई कैन अंडरस्टैंड व्हेन समवन हैज हैड अ वेरी वेरी बैड फेस और काइंड ऑफ बिट्रेयल फ्रॉम समवन, पर धीरे 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 जब इंसान उधर उसमें से निकल जाए और प्रेजेंट में रहना चाहिए. और गुरुजी बहुत मदद करते हैं प्रेजेंट में रहने की, because we should all just think that let bygones be bygones and let's bury the past, because past memories kind of haunt you and give you pain. But yes, if you have had a really really good time, then there is no problem to cherishing those moments of past. Okay, next is loneliness. तो स्वामी रामा जी क्या बोलते हैं, आई एम नेवर लोनली. देखो ये बहुत कुछ इसमें सीखने को मिलेगा. कई बार हम बहुत सोचते हैं ना, मैं कल्ला है, मैं कल्ली है. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. जब आप अपने परमात्मा गुरु जी को, मास्टर जिसको भी आप मानते हो, अब तहे दिल से याद करेंगे तो वो आपके साथ हैं. ही इज लाइक योर हार्ट बीट, यू आर नेवर अलोन. जैसे हमें हिमगिरी फ्लावर ने पहले भी कहा था, ऑल अलोन मीन्स ऑल इन वन. Then it's, I'm never lonely. A lonely person is one who is not aware of the complete fullness within. कहते हैं lonely person is one who is not aware of the complete fullness within. When you become dependent on something outside without having awareness of the reality within you, then you will indeed be lonely. कहते हैं जब आप बाहरी चीजों पे डिपेंडेंट रहते हो ना, आपको अवेयरनेस ही नहीं है कि आपके अंदर कौन है, क्या रियलिटी है आपके अंदर. अगर आपको ये चीजों का नहीं पता तो डेफिनेटली आप लोनली फील करोगे. The whole search for enlightenment is to seek within. Seek within, go inside. That Almighty God resides in your heart. The whole search for enlightenment is to seek within, to become aware that you are complete in yourself. You are perfect. You don't need any externals. No matter what happens in any situation, you need never be lonely. One day when I was 16 years old, I was standing outside our cave in the Himalayas and saw several people approaching. When they came closer, I recognized them to be a ruling prince of India with his secretary and guards. तो ये स्वामी जी आगे बता रहे हैं ना कि कहते जब मैं 16 साल का था ना, तो मैं केव के बाहर ही था, तो मैंने काफी लोग देखे जो पास में आ रहे थे. फिर मैंने देखा कि ये तो एक प्रिंस है जो इंडिया को रूल कर रहे हैं. वो अपने सेक्रेटरी और गार्ड के साथ आ रहे थे. He came up to me and arrogantly said, Brahmachari, young Swami, I have come to see your master. In the very same tone I said, you cannot see him. His secretary asked, don't you know who he is? I replied, I don't care. I'm the protector of this cave. Go away. So they departed. They returned several times, but to no avail. Because I seldom allowed anyone to see my master, I wanted to shield him from disturbance, and we had no inclination to see arrogant people. Sometimes I would say to my master, these rich people come from far and wide, and you say you don't want to see them. Is this good? He would smile and answer. तो वो अपने कहते हैं ना मास्टर को भी, इतने अमीर लोग इतने दूर से आते हैं तो आप उसको नहीं देखते हो, क्या ये ठीक है, क्या ये ठीक बात है? तो उनके मास्टर क्या, स्वामी रामा जी के मास्टर स्माइल देके क्या बोलते हैं, आई एम हैप्पी विद माई फ्रेंड विद इन. जो मेरे अंदर का मेरा अपना दोस्त है ना, मैं उससे बहुत सेटिस्फाइड हूँ, मैं उससे बहुत खुश हूँ. Why do I need to see these people? They are not genuine seekers. They want something worldly. One wants to have a child, another to have a high position. They don't want spiritual food. जो होता है ना असली चीज, कहते हैं वो कोई नहीं मांगता हैगा. Why do you ask me to see them? Finally, the ruler prince recognized that I didn't care about his status, so he changed his attitude. When he came again, he politely asked, Sir, may I please see your master? I took him inside the cave where my master was sitting quietly. तो वो जब प्रिंस दोबारा से आए तो उन्होंने देखा भी मेरी ऐसे तो दाल गलेगी नहीं. I have to change my attitude. I have to kind of mellow down. तो जब वो बड़े प्यार से नम्रता से पूछते हैं, तब स्वामी जी उनको अंदर जाने देते हैं. Because masters really don't like arrogance. I took him inside the cave where my master was sitting quietly. That prince wanted to be polite and to show his manners and Western breeding. He said, Sir, you seem to be lonesome. My master said, Yes. बड़ा अच्छा जवाब देते हैं master, कहते हैं, Yes, because you have come. Before you came, I was enjoying the company of my friend within. Now that you have come, I'm lonesome. तो मास्टर ने इतना अच्छा जवाब दिया. वो प्रिंस कहते हैं, Sir, you seem to be lonesome.
तो मास्टर कहते हैं हाँ भाई, अब जो तुम जो आ गए हो, क्योंकि उससे पहले तो मेरी बड़ी अच्छी कंपनी थी अपने जो मेरे अंदर के दोस्त हैं उसके साथ. Now that you have come, I'm lonesome. It is true that the highest of all companionship is the company of the real self. Those who learn to enjoy the real self within are never lonely. Who makes us lonely? Those who claim to know and love us, or those whom we love create loneliness and make us dependent. We forget the eternal friend within. When we learn to know our real self, we do not depend on externals. Dependence on external relationships, ignorance that needs to be dispelled. Relationships and life are synonymous and inseparable. Those who know the friend within love all are and are not dependent. They're never lonely. Loneliness is a disease. Being alone happily means enjoying the constant company, the constant awareness of the reality. After learning this lesson, the ruler learned to his palace and pondered over the teachings. He then started practicing meditation. He soon realized that it is possible for everyone to be free from the self-created misery of loneliness and to enjoy life. देखिए ये बहुत बड़ी लाइफ में लगता है ना, हम अकेले हैं. चलो हम इतना डिपेंड हो जाते हैं अपने दोस्तों पे, रिश्तेदारों पे. चलो जी मुझे अकेलापन में नहीं सहा जा रहा, चलो मैं इसको फोन कर लूं या इसको मिल लूं. पर जब आपको सच्चे तहे दिल से if you fall in love with the real real you, that's someone who's really who resides inside, then you feel that you are your own friend. और ये गुरुजी के साथ रह के आप धीरे धीरे बिल्कुल समझ आते हैं, आप कभी भी अपने आप को अकेले महसूस नहीं करेंगे. आपको जैसे कई लोग भी पूछेंगे भी कैसे कैसे, आपको लगता ही नहीं आप अकेले हो, बिकॉज योर गुरु इज विद इन यू, योर गुरुजी इज विद इन यू. आपको कभी भी अकेलापन नहीं लगता. तो इस लेसन में यही है, कहते when you know the real self, you are never ever lonely, because alone means all in one. तो कभी भी एक्सटर्नल्स पे, कभी भी किसी पे डिपेंड होके नहीं जीना चाहिए. आप अपने में गुरुजी आपको सेल्फ सफिशिएंट बना देते हैं. Okay, next chapter is Maya, the Cosmic Whale. As I said earlier, कि इस book में 14 chapters हैं, पर हर 14 chapters के अंदर अंदर बहुत प्यारे सब chapters हैं, उसमें बड़ी प्यारी 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 stories हैं, और हर chapter में कुछ ना कुछ सीखने को मिलता है. Next is Maya, the Cosmic Whale, जिसको हम माया बोलते हैं. Maya, kind of it hypnotizes you. One day, I said to my master, sir, I have been taught that avidya means ignorance, and maya means illusion, are one and the same. But I do not really understand what maya is. He often taught by demonstration. So he said, अच्छा कल मैं तुम्हें देखो दिखाऊंगा क्या माया होती है. तो उनके मास्टर कहते हैं, tomorrow morning I'll show you what Maya is. I could not sleep that night. I thought tomorrow morning I'm going to meet Maya. The next day we went for our morning ablutions as usual. Then we met again afterwards. We bathed in the Ganges. Afterwards I did not feel like I could sit for meditation because I was so excited by the prospect of the mystery of Maya being unveiled. On our way back to the cave, we came upon a big dry trunk of a tree. Okay, कहते जब हम वापस आ रहे थे ना, तो हमने बहुत एक बड़ी सी और सूखी हुई वो trunk of a tree उसको देखा. My master rushed up to the tree and wrapped himself around it. मास्टर भाग के बिल्कुल अपने आप को उन्होंने रैप कर लिया ट्री के साथ. I had never seen him run so fast before. He called out, "Are you my disciple? Then help me." I said, "Huh? You have helped so many people, and today you need my help? What has happened to you?" I was afraid of that tree. I couldn't go near it because I feared it would also entrap me. I thought if the tree also entraps me, then who will help us both? तो मास्टर जो भी अपनी लीला कर रहे होंगे ना, वो कहते हैं मुझे बचाओ. तो वो स्वामी जी कहते हैं कि आपको हो क्या गया है, और ये खुद भी नहीं उसके पास जा रहे थे कि मैं भी ना इंट्रैप हो जाऊं. He cried, "Help me, take hold of my foot and try your best to pull me away." I tried with all my might. Swami ji कहते हैं, I tried with all my power, my might, but I could not separate him from the tree. Then he said, "My body has been caught by this tree trunk." I exhausted myself trying to pull him from the tree. Finally, I stopped to think and I said to him, "How is this possible? The tree trunk has no power to hold you." कहते ये क्या कर रहे हो आप? ये possible थोड़ी कि tree trunk के पास क्या इतनी power है कि आपको hold कर सके? What are you doing? तो उनके मास्टर क्या कहते हैं? He laughed and said, "This is Maya." तो देखो माया ने हमने क्या जकड़ना है, लोग खुद जकड़े हुए हैं माया के साथ. बहुत प्रैक्टिकली उनके मास्टर ने करके दिखाया जो भी लीला रची, बिकॉज ही वांटेड टू डेमोन्स्ट्रेट इट, एंड वांट टू टीच हिम pragmatically and in a practical manner. My master explained Anadi Vidya, cosmic illusion to me, just as Shankara had described it. He said that avidya means individual ignorance, while Maya is both individual and cosmic illusion. Ma ka matlab kya hota hai? Ma means no, and ya means that. Iska matlab kya hai? That which is not self-existent and yet appears to exist. It's like a mirage. It's called Maya. तो माया यही है ना, हमें नजर आती है नहीं है वो. It's not self-existence yet yet appears to exist. Then he explained another school of philosophy which maintains that Maya is universal illusion and also the mother of the universe. He told me that in Tantra philosophy, Maya is considered to be both cosmic Shakti and the primal force or Kundalini, the latent force in all the human beings. By focusing one awareness on the absolute, the sleeping force is awakened within and directed toward the center of consciousness. When one comes in touch with his power, he can easily attain the highest level of consciousness. तो वो जो कॉस्मिक शक्ति है ना, कुंडलिनी, हमें पता है कि ऐसी फोर्स है लेटेंट, मतलब सोई रहती है, पर जब हम जैसे डीप मेडिटेशन में जाते हैं, जो भी क्रिया होती है उससे वो ऊपर की ओर जाती है, and it gives you the highest level of consciousness. Those who do not awaken this force of Shakti remain forever brute and ignorant. After describing the philosophies of Maya, he said, when we devote our mind, energy, and resources to believing in that which is non-existent, then it appears to exist. That is Maya. Don't contemplate on evil, devil, sin, avidya, or Maya, and thereby put yourself in a state of stress and worry. Even spiritual people become preoccupied with blaming the world for the lack of progress. This weakness is significant in creating obstacles for lack of sincerity, honesty, faithfulness, and truthfulness. We do not realize that which we are. We project our weaknesses and think that the objects of the world are the source of our obstacles. He told me to practice non-attachment and constant awareness. He said, the strongest of bondages is created by attachment, which makes one weak, ignorant, and unaware of the absolute reality. Maya or illusion is deeply rooted in attachment. When we are attached to or have a desire for something, it becomes a source of illusion for us. Those who are free from attachments and have directed their desires towards spiritual growth are free from bondage of Maya illusion. The less attachment, the more inner strength, the nearer the goal. Vairagya and Abhyas, non-attachment and constant awareness of absolute reality are like two wings of a bird which can fly from the plane of mortality to the height of immortality. Those who do not allow their wings to be clipped by the illusion of Maya can attain perfection. Many people confuse attachment with love, but in attachment, बहुत अच्छा समझा रहे हैं ये, कहते जो attachment होती है ना, in attachment you become selfish. You're interested in your own pleasure and you misuse love. You become possessive and try to gain the objects of your desires. Attachment creates bondage while love bestows freedom. That's a beautiful line, you know. Attachment creates bondage while love bestows freedom. When yogis speak of non-attachment, they are not teaching indifference, but are teaching how to genuinely and selflessly love others. ये तो जब yogis non-attachment की बात करते हैं, ये तो नहीं कहते हैं आप हर चीजों से indifferent हो जाओ, पर ये कहते हैं किसी भी चीज के लिए, कोई कार्य के प्रति आप selflessly करो. Non-attachment properly understood means love. Non-attachment or love can be practiced by those who live in the world as well as those who are renunciates. The message which I received on the sands of the Ganges in the Himalayas helped me to understand that illusion is self-induced. By imparting this knowledge, my beloved master made me aware of the nature of cosmic illusion and the individual barrier we create. तो इस चैप्टर में यही सीखा है ना कि ट्राई करना चाहिए कि हम ठीक है प्यार से हर चीज करें या रिश्तों को भी प्यार से निभाएं. अटैचमेंट नहीं अच्छी चीज है, बिकॉज अटैचमेंट में आप पॉजेसिव हो जाते हो, आप सेल्फ सेंटर्ड हो जाते हो, वेरस जो प्यार है ना वो आपको फ्रीडम देता है. बाकी हमें माया के बारे में भी बताया है ना कि माया क्या इल्यूजन है. जिस चीज को आप ज्यादा एनर्जी दोगे या कोई ऐसी चीज है तो वो माया बन जाती है, बिकॉज and then how Swamiji also practiced non-attachment. He said that non-attachment you can practice by constant awareness. और उससे क्या होता है, कहते जब आप में कोई अटैचमेंट नहीं होती ना तो आप स्पिरिचुअल ग्रोथ में आपको हेल्प मिलती है. और वैराग्य और अभ्यास से भी, खैर गुरुजी के शब्द बानी और गुरुजी के साथ सत्संग सुनने से धीरे 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 बंदा इन इल्यूजन से भी बाहर निकल आता है, बॉन्डेजेस से भी बाहर निकल जाता है. एंड यू कम टू नो व्हाट इज योर रियल पर्पस एंड यू कम टू नो अबाउट द अनकंडीशनल लव. तो मतलब ये होता है कि जो भी हम चैप्टर पढ़े उसमें जो मेन चीजें हैं ना उसको हम ग्रैब करें। ओके, नेक्स्ट इज बिटर ट्रूथ एंड ब्लेस्ड इफेक्ट्स। कहते हैं, आई रिमेंबर एन ओकेजन व्हेन आई वाज ट्रैवलिंग विद माय मास्टर। स्वामी जी कहते हैं, आई रिमेंबर एन ओकेजन व्हेन आई वाज ट्रैवलिंग विद माय मास्टर, the station master in town we were passing through, ये बहुत अच्छी स्टोरी है। The station master in a town we were passing through came to me and said, sir, give me something to practice and I promise I'll follow it faithfully. तो एक स्टेशन मास्टर उनको मिलते हैं ना, वो कहते हैं मुझे कुछ तो आप प्रैक्टिस के लिए दीजिए, मैं उसको बहुत अपने दृढ़ निश्चय से, फेथफुलनेस से उसको निभाऊंगा। तो मास्टर क्या कहते हैं, माय मास्टर सेड टू मी, गिव हिम समथिंग डेफिनेट टू प्रैक्टिस। आई सेड, व्हाई शुड वन फूल मिसगाइड अनदर। तो वो अपने बड़े प्यार से, मखौल से अपने आप को फूल कहते हैं। स्वामी जी कहते हैं, मतलब मैं खुद फूल हूं, मैं उसको कैसे अपना आई कांट मिसगाइड हिम। व्हाई शुड वन फूल मिसगाइड अनदर, इट विल बी बेटर इफ यू इंस्ट्रक्ट हिम। सो माय मास्टर सेड, फ्रॉम दिस डे ऑन डोंट लाई। उन्होंने एक ही चीज उसको प्रैक्टिस करने के लिए की, स्टेशन मास्टर में, तूने झूठ नहीं बोलना। प्रैक्टिस दिस रूल फेथफुली। कहते कितनी देर के लिए, 3 महीने के लिए उसको बोला भी तूने 3 महीने ना बिल्कुल झूठ नहीं बोलना। और मुझे लगता है कि हम तो एक दिन में कितने बोल लेते हैं, तो बहुत मुश्किल हो जाता है आजकल की दुनिया में। वो कहते हैं, मास्टर कहते हैं कि 3 महीने भी तूने झूठ नहीं बोलना। Most of the employees of the railroad in that area were dishonest and took bribes. है ना, जो भी उनके एम्प्लॉयज थे ना उस टाइम पे, वो डिसऑनेस्ट थे और वो ब्राइब्स भी लेते थे। But this man decided that he would not take bribes or lie anymore. That very same week, a supervisor from the head office came to investigate him and his assistants. The station master answered the probing questions of the supervisor honestly. This inquiry brought serious trouble to his staff. All the employees who had been taking bribes, including the station master himself, were prosecuted. He thought, it has been only 13 days, and look at the difficulty I'm in. What is going to happen to me in 3 months' time? देखो, जो भी कोई इंस्पेक्शन के लिए आए होंगे सुपरवाइजर, इसने तो सच सच बोल दिया ना भी, हाँ भाई मैंने भी रिश्वत ली, मेरे साथ साथ जो को वर्कर्स एम्प्लॉयज उसने भी रिश्वत ली। उसका रेपरकशन क्या हुआ? देखो, जो उसकी वाइफ भी छोड़ गई, उसके बच्चे भी छोड़ गए उसको। Soon his wife and children left him. Within a month his life had crumbled like a house of cards from a single touch. That day the station master was in great agony. He was in pain, he was in agony, and we were some 300 miles away on a bank of the Namrata river. जब उसके साथ ये चीजें हो रही थी ना, तो ये स्वामी रामा जी कहते हैं, मैं और मेरे मास्टर ना तकरीबन 300 माइल्स दूर थे उससे, Namrata river के बैंक में। And my master was lying under a tree when he suddenly began laughing. He said, do you know what is happening? That man whom I instructed not to lie is in jail today. तो वो बड़े अपनी कोई स्माइल दे रहे हैं स्वामी रामा जी के मास्टर की, जिसको मैंने कहा था ना झूठ ना बोलते, कि वो अब जेल में पहुंच गया है, क्योंकि ये उनकी लीला थी, आगे उनको पता है क्या होने वाला है। I asked, then why are you laughing? He answered, I am not laughing at him, I'm laughing at this foolish world. 12 people in that man's office had gotten together and said he was a liar, although he had been speaking the truth. They accused him of being the only one guilty of taking bribes. He was put in jail and the others were released. देखो, सबने मिलजुल के क्या किया, बोला कि नहीं हम लोग तो सब ठीक थे, and they came out scot free, कि भाई ये खुद रिश्वतें लेता था और वो बेचारा जेल में चला गया। When the station master went to court, the judge looked down at him from the bench and asked, where is your attorney? वो कहता है, I don't need one, the judge said, but I want someone to help you. No, said the station master, I don't need an attorney. I want to speak the truth. No matter how many years you put me behind bars, I won't lie. I used to share in bribes. Then I met a sage who told me never to lie, no matter what. My wife and children have left me. I've lost my job. I have no money or friends, and I am in jail. And all these things have happened in 1 month. I have to examine truth for 2 more months. No matter what happens, sir, put me behind bars, but I don't care. तो वो जज को बताते हैं ना कि मुझे कोई भी लॉयर की जरूरत नहीं है। आज ठीक है, अभी तो वो कहते हैं ना, मैंने तो 1 महीना ही अभी सच बोला, अभी तो मेरे पास 2 महीने और पड़े, आप जो मर्जी बोलो, मैं झूठ तो कभी नहीं बोलूंगा, मैंने भी रिश्वत ली है, और ठीक है इसके दौरान मेरे बच्चे भी छोड़ गए, मेरी वाइफ भी छोड़ गई। The judge called a recess and quietly called the man to his chamber. He asked, who is the sage who told you this? The man described him. Fortunately, the judge was a disciple of my master. He acquitted the station master and said, you are on the right path, stick to it. I wish I could do the same. देखो, जज ने जब उसको पर्सनली अपने चैम्बर में बुलाया, क्योंकि वो भी तो आश्चर्यचकित हो गया होगा ना कि मतलब ये कैसे इतना से ब्लेटेंटली सच बोल सकता है। तो वो क्या होता है As luck would have it, इनका और उनका जज का भी मास्टर सेम निकलते हैं, वही स्वामी रामाजी वाले मास्टर. After 3 months, that man did not have anything. On the exact day, the 3 months were up. He was sitting quietly under the tree when he received a telegram saying, "Your father had a huge plot of land that was taken long ago by the government. The government now wants to give you compensation." They gave him 1 million rupees. So just imagine, उसको जो 3 महीने जो उसके औखे निकले होंगे सच बोलने से, तो उससे कहते हैं ना जैसे भगवान देता छप्पड़ फाड़ के देता है, तो कहते उसको वो कंपोजिशन क्या मिली, 1 million rupees, जो कभी उसके फादर ने प्लॉट खरीदा होगा, लॉन्ग लॉन्ग अगो टाइम बाय द गवर्नमेंट, एंड गवर्नमेंट उनको क्या देना चाहती है, 1 million rupees. He had not known about the land, which was in a different province. He thought, today I've completed 3 months of not lying and I have been rewarded so much. He gave the compensation to his wife and children, and they happily said, "We want to come back to you." तो देखो, जब पैसे का उसने कंपोजिशन अपनी वाइफ और बच्चे को दी, तो वो भी भागे भागे भी अब तो हम आपके पास आने चाहते हैं. तो वो क्या कहता है, "No," he said, "until now I have only seen what happened by not lying for 3 months. Now I want to find out what will happen if I do not lie for the rest of my life. Truth is the ultimate goal of human life, and if it is practiced with mind, speech, and action, the goal can be reached. Truth can be attained by practicing non-lying and by not doing those actions which are against one's own conscience. Conscience is the best of guides." तो देखिए, वो कहते हैं कि अगर 3 महीने मैंने सच बोला या झूठ नहीं बोला, तो मेरे को ऐसा रिवॉर्ड मिला है, तो जब मैं इसको सारी उम्र अपना लूंगा, then I'm मतलब that will fulfill my the purpose of my life. तो उन्होंने बोला, जो सच है ना, यही तो गोल है ह्यूमन लाइफ का, उसको आप मन से, स्पीड से, एक्शन से अपनाएं, और बाकी कोई भी ऐसी चीज ना करें, जैसे कहते हैं ना, जो हमारे सबकॉन्शियस माइंड के भी खिलाफ है, जो हमारी कॉन्शियस अलाउ नहीं करती है, तो उस तरह का झूठ कभी नहीं बोलना चाहिए. आई नो दैट इन टूडेज वर्ल्ड वी टेल लॉट ऑफ व्हाइट लाइज इज ओके, पर उस तरह के झूठ ना बोले ना, जो किसी को हर्ट करें या कोई दगाबाजी के लिए हो, या कोई फ्रॉड बंदा करे, उस तरह के झूठ नहीं बोलने चाहिए. So, and we also learned the lesson from this, that truth is always rewarded no matter what. और एक चीज सीखी, कैसे उन्होंने एक ही पल में, जब उन मास्टर ने कहा 3 महीने तक तूने सच बोलना है, जो कि आसान चीज नहीं है, and but he did that. He risked his life, he lost his job, he lost everything, he lost his family, because family भी उसकी मतलब ही निकली जब उसको ऐसे कुछ हुआ, बजाय कि उनका साथ देते, उसके बच्चे और वाइफ भाग गए. So this is what we have learned, that yes, obedience to master. If you have said something that you would be doing, just surrender, and then no matter what, उस दौरान बहुत सारी मुश्किलें भी आएंगी, but he was rewarded in multi-fold. And how Swami Ramaji's master was smiling, because उनको पता था ये तो दुनिया पागल है, उनको तो पता है आगे जाके इनको क्या रिवॉर्ड मिलने वाला था. Okay, the next chapter is, "You teach others but deprive me." ये स्वामी जी बोलते हैं. स्वामी जी बोलते हैं, "One day I told my master, you have been cheating me. When we are inadequate ourselves but our ego is strong, we tend to blame others. He asked, what's the matter? I said, you think I'm still a child and you are withholding things from me." तो स्वामी जी, बिकॉज उनका पालन पोषण ही उनके मास्टर ने किया था, वो अपने मास्टर को अपने पिताजी से भी ज्यादा प्यार करते थे. एंड आई थिंक स्वामी जी हैड दैट लिबर्टी, to ask him anything. He could come up with any kind of question, and he would not keep anything in heart. He would just ask everything in such a kiddish manner and childish manner. वो अंदर कुछ नहीं रखते थे, वो सब कुछ पूछ लेते थे. तो उनके मास्टर जी कहते हैं, भाई क्या हो गया? He asked, what's the matter? I said, you think I'm still a child and you're withholding things from me. Tell me, what am I withholding? You are not showing me God. तो स्वामी जी कहते हैं, मुझे ईश्वर के तो दर्शन करा ही नहीं रहे हो. You're not showing me God. Perhaps you cannot, but you can only teach me about God. If that is the limit of your powers, then you should be honest. He answered. तो स्वामी जी, उनके मास्टर में बहुत पेशेंस थी, तो वो कहते हैं, okay, I'll show you God tomorrow morning. I asked, really? He replied, most certainly. Are you prepared? I used to meditate regularly before going to bed, but that night I couldn't. I was sure that in the morning I would get to see God. So what was the point of meditating? I was so rested and excited. I did not sleep the whole night. So Swamiji got really, really, really enthusiastic. He was so super excited कि मुझे तो कल ईश्वर के दर्शन होंगे. इस उस दौरान वो ना तो meditate कर पाए और ना ही सो पाए. Early in the morning, I went to my master. I did not even bathe. I thought, when my master is showing me God, why take time for a bath? I just slapped my face, petted down my hair, and presented myself to him. He said, take your seat. I thought, now he's going to show me God. I was seldom humble, but I became extraordinary humble that morning. स्वामी जी बड़ी frankly बोलते कहते मैं इतना कोई humble तो था नहीं है ना, but मैं उस time तो बहुत ही विनम्र हो गया. I bowed before him many times. He looked at me and said, what has happened to you? What is this funny business? Why are you abnormally emotional? I said, did you forget? You promised me you would show me God? He said, okay, let me know what type of God you're prepared to see. तेरे को किस तरह का, तुम्हें किस तरह का भगवान के दर्शन करने हैं? I said, sir, are there many types? He asked, what is your concept and definition of God? I'll show you God exactly according to your conviction and definition. Everyone wants to see God without having any firm conviction of God in their minds and hearts. If you're searching and are not firm and sure regarding the objects of your search, what will you find? If I tell you that whatsoever you see in God, you are not going to be satisfied. If I say God is within you, still you won't be satisfied. Suppose I show you God and you say, no, that's not God. What am I going to do then? तो स्वामी जी भी बहुत हिलेरियसली बात करते हैं. कहते हैं ये तो बताओ किस तरह का भगवान चाहिए, कौन सी छवि तुमने बनाई हुई है. कहते हैं अगर मैं बोलूंगा तेरे दिल में, तुम्हारे अपने मन में ईश्वर है, तब भी तुम नहीं मानोगे. और अगर मैं तुम्हें बताना चाहता हूं कि अगर मैं अपने टाइप का कोई भगवान दिखाऊं, तुम बोलोगे तो ईश्वर है ही नहीं. तो कहते मैं क्या करूं फिर? So you tell me the way you think about God and I'll produce that God for you. I told him, wait a moment, let me think. He said, God is not within the range of your thinking. Go back to your meditation seat, and when you're ready, let me know. Come to see me anytime you want after you have decided what type of God you want to see. I don't lie. I'll show you God. That's my duty to show you God. I tried my best to imagine what God would be like, but my imagination could not go beyond the human form. तो वो जिस तरह का कॉन्सेप्ट जो भी उन्होंने परसेप्शन परसीव की हुई थी, कहते मेरा तो बस वो
Hello, should I start? Am I audible now right now?
Yes.
Yes, Auntie, you're audible.
Okay. I think it's got disconnected. Okay. So he said, God is not within the range of your thinking. Go back to your meditation seat, and when you're ready, let me know. Come to see me anytime you want. Come to see me anytime you want after you have decided what type of God you want to see. I don't lie. I'll show you God. That's my duty to show you God. I tried my best to imagine what God would be like, but my imagination could not go beyond the human form. My mind raced over the kingdom of plants and the kingdom of animals, then human beings. So I imagined a wise and handsome man who was very strong and powerful. And I thought, God must look like this. So जो भी उन्होंने उनके सामने छवि आई, वो it was of a very, very strong and powerful, handsome man. Then I realized that I was making a foolish demand. What could I experience when I didn't have a clarity of mind? Finally, I went to my master and said, sir, show me that God who can free us of miseries and who can give us happiness. He said, that is a state of equilibrium and tranquility which you must cultivate for yourself. Without having clarity of mind, a mere desire to see God is just like groping in the dark. I found out that the human mind has its boundaries and can visualize only according to its limited resources. No human being can possibly explain what God is or conceive of God mentally. One can say God is truth, a fountain of love, absolute reality,
or one who manifested this universe. But these are all abstract ideas which do not satisfy the desire to see God. Then what is there to be seen? Those who believe God is a being can imagine and see a vision, but in reality, God cannot be seen through human eyes. God can only be realized by realizing the real self and then the self of all. So when a student has the attitude, I want to see God, my teacher is not showing me God, my teacher is not giving me what I want, he must finally realize that it's not a matter of the teacher's duty. Find out if you're making inappropriate demands, and instead of demanding from the teacher, transform yourself within. कहते अपने गुरु से या मास्टर से कुछ डिमांड करने से पहले ना पहले अपने आप को ट्रांसफॉर्म करो अंदर से. God is within you, and that which is within you is subject to self-realization. No one can show God to anyone else. One has to independently realize his real self. Thereby he realizes the self of all, which is called God. जब आप अपने आप को self realization करोगे ना तो आपको ईश्वर तत्व महसूस होगा. In the state of ignorance, the student thinks that God is a particular being and he wants to see that being exactly as he sees something in the external world. It never happens. But when he realizes that God is truth and practices truth in action and speech, then his ignorance about the nature of God disappears and self-realization dawns. बहुत अच्छा उनके मास्टर ने भी बताया है, ईश्वर तो सबके अंदर है, और जब हम कभी सोचते हैं कि हमने ईश्वर देखना है तो सब संगत के आंखों में या अपने मन में या दिल में हमेशा गुरु जी की छवि आती है, because for us Guru ji is our almighty God. Now next chapter is discipline is a must. तो स्वामी जी कहते हैं, I would often go to Ramgarh forest, where my friend Nantin Baba lived. He had been practicing austerities and spiritual discipline from the age of 6. तो उनके कोई फ्रेंड है ना जो 6 साल की उम्र से ही वे प्रैक्टिस करते थे. We both were very mischievous. We would often sneak into a village and go into someone's kitchen, eat whatever we found, and then return to the forest. तो इसमें हमें स्वामी जी की वो साइड मिलेगी, where there is just frolicking and his we come to know about exuberant energy and how a frolicsome he is, how high spirited he is, and what mischievous acts he used to do with his friend. We would often sneak into a village and go into someone's kitchen, eat whatever we found, and then return to the forest. That created a mystery among the villagers. Some thought that we were divine incarnations, while others thought that we were devils. There were many apple orchards in that area owned by the rich people of Nainital. One day we left our place to live near a small creek which flowed through an orchard. In the evening, we collected wood for a fire. The forest preserve officer were concerned about fires, so we made a fire in the orchard. The owner saw us and thought we were stealing the golden apples and other rare varieties. He was very stingy and miserly and never allowed anyone to pick up apples off the ground like the other orchard owners did. He ordered his watchmen to come with bamboo sticks. 5 men ran towards us to beat us up. When they came closer, they saw that we were not thieves, but these 2 young yogis who lived in the forest. When I returned to my master after 3 months, he said, "You create problems for me by doing silly things," because unke master ko to sab pata hi hota tha what he was up to, his pranks and all that. I replied, "I haven't done anything," but he continued, "I have to protect you as an infant is protected by its mother. When will you grow up? Why did you trespass on someone's property?" I answered, "All things belong to God. They can be used by those who are in the service of God." To this, my master replied, "This type of thinking is a misuse of the scriptural sayings for your own convenience. Your thinking should be corrected." Then he gave me these instructions. तो बड़े प्यार से स्वामी जी ने कहा भी ये सब चीजें ईश्वर ने तो बनाई है और सबके पास फ्रीडम है यूज करने के लिए. तो उनके मास्टर कहते हैं, इस तरह की थिंकिंग तुम्हारी गलत है, तो ये तो तुम्हारी अपनी कन्वीनियंस के हिसाब से तुमने बना लिया है. तो उन्होंने उनको क्या इंस्ट्रक्शन दी उनके मास्टर ने स्वामी रामा जी को? See the ultimate reality as all pervasive throughout the universe. Do not be attached to the pleasures received from the objects of the world. Treat them as means for spiritual progress. Do not covet anyone's property, woman or wealth. बहुत अच्छा है. कहते जो भी ईश्वर हमें कोई चीजें देता भी है ना, चाहे लग्जरीज है, चाहे कोई भी चीज है प्लेजर्स के लिए, उसको हम वो ऑब्जेक्ट्स यूज करें कि इससे मेरी स्पिरिचुअल प्रगति होगी. नॉट दैट वी गेट इनटू दोस थिंग्स एंड यू गेट हाईली अटैच्ड टू दोस थिंग्स. तो आगे क्या कहते हैं? ना ही आप किसी की प्रॉपर्टी लो या किसी के आप वेल्थ पे नजर रखो या किसी के वुमेन पे नजर रखो. Okay, he said, don't you remember these sayings of the Upanishads? In the future, if you commit any social crime and disturb the householders, I will not talk to you anymore. So Swamiji receives the rebuking, and his master reprimands him. I'm not going to talk to you. At times, he would punish me by refusing to speak to me. The difference between his rebuking silence and the positive silence, which was filled with love and understanding, was very apparent to me. I was 16 years of age then, and had tremendous energy. And then now, Sangaji, what do we expect from a 16-year-old lad? Obviously, he will indulge in these kind of things. I was very active and would constantly annoy him. But he often said, this is my karma. So, उनके मास्टर जी इतने humble है, जैसे ही उनको annoy करते थे, मास्टर जी पता क्या कहते हैं? कहते, this is my karma and not your fault, my boy. I'm reaping the fruit of my own deeds. जो भी वो काम करते थे, कहते तुम्हारा कसूर नहीं है, ये तो खैर मेरा कोई शायद लगता कर्मों का भुगतान हो रहा है, जो मैंने किया था उसका मुझे फल मिल रहा है. जो भी ये तुम शरारतें और जो mischievous acts कर रहे हो. I would feel sad and promise not to repeat that which was against his instructions, but soon I would misbehave again. Sometimes I was consciously irresponsible, and at other times, I acted wrongly unconsciously through inattentiveness. But this great man always loved me under all circumstances in spite of my misbehavior. इस तरह गुरु जी करते हैं, कुछ भी कर ले हैं, हम कई बारी ऐसी चीजें भी कर देते हैं, but his love is unconditional. He forgives us. He accepts us with our flaws. That's the beauty of his love. जितने भी हमारे flaws हैं, उसके साथ ही गुरु जी हमें स्वीकारते हैं. पर इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि हम सुधरे ना. हमें रोज 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 सुधारना चाहिए अपने आप को. We should not trouble our Guruji so much. Actually, when one becomes mature, he starts knowing the real philosophy of life. Then he starts becoming aware of his thoughts, speech, and actions. तो ये सबसे बड़ी चीज है. अगर हम यही पार्ट बन जाता, अगर हम अपनी स्पीच को, एक्शंस को, थॉट्स के प्रति हम अवेयर हो जाएं. Spiritual practice needs constant vigilance. Discipline should not be rigidly imposed, but students should learn to commit themselves and accept the discipline as essential for self-growth. Imposing rigidity and following it doesn't seem to be helpful. Through this approach, one might know what to do and what not to do, but can never know how to be. तो ये बहुत जरूरत है. चीजें तो हमें पता है क्या करनी क्या नहीं, पर कैसे अपने आप को रखना है. How to be, that is the most important thing. So इसमें भी हमने यही सीखा है कि हमें अवेयर रहना है अपने थॉट, स्पीच और एक्शन से. और जो स्पिरिचुअल प्रैक्टिस में भी जब बंदा स्पिरिचुअल जर्नी पे भी होता है ना, इट इज अ जर्नी वेयर यू हैव टू बी विजिलेंट. इट्स लाइक वॉकिंग ऑन द रेजर्स एज. सो अपने आप को कॉन्स्टेंटली विजिलेंट रहना चाहिए. Okay. Yeah. Then next chapter is blessings in a curse. अब स्वामी जी क्या बोलते हैं आगे? Whenever I became egoistical, I fell down. वो तो है ही है. जब भी बंदा ईगो में आ जाता है, कभी ना कभी तो नीचे गिरोगे. और कहते हैं ना, शिव जी की, सदा शिव की तो खुराक ही वो होती, अहंकार और ईगो, वो खा जाते हैं. Whenever I became egoistical, I fell down. This is my experience. My master said, try your best, but whenever you feed your ego, whenever you try to do anything selfish, you will not succeed. This is my curse on you. मुझे लग रहा है ये कर्स नहीं होता है, मतलब ये तो उनकी ब्लेसिंग ही हुई ना, क्योंकि एक तरह से ब्लेसिंग ही है, लाइक अ हिडन ब्लेसिंग. वो कहते हैं, देखो, अपने स्वामी रामा जी को कहते हैं, ठीक है तुम जो भी करो अच्छे से करो, पर कभी भी अपनी ईगो को फीड मत करना. कुछ ऐसा करोगे तुम सक्सेसफुल नहीं होगे. ये मेरा तुमको श्राप है. मुझे लग रहा है श्राप, it turns out to be blessings actually. I looked at him in surprise. What was he saying? Then he continued, this is my blessing to you, that whenever you want to become selfless, loving and without ego, you will find a great force behind you and you will never fail to achieve some good. ये भी बोलते हैं साथ में, कहते और सुनो, जब भी कोई तुम सेल्फलेस एक्शन करोगे ना, जिसमें तुम्हारी ईगो इन्वॉल्व नहीं है, तो ये समझ लेना एक बहुत बड़ी शक्ति, जो कि मेरी शक्ति है, वो तुम्हारे पीछे होगी. और कोई भी अच्छा काम करोगे उसमें तुम्हें सफलता ही मिलेगी. A selfish man always thinks and talks about himself. His selfishness makes him self-centered and miserable. The shortest cut to self-enlightenment is to cut through the ego, surrender before the highest one, satsang, company of the sages, and constant awareness of the center within help one is going beyond the mire of delusion. The ego is also purified by cultivating selfishness. तो ये बहुत अच्छा बताया, तो गुरुजी में बोलते हैं ना, सरेंडर भी करो और सत्संग जो हमसे करवाते हैं, इससे अपने आप ही आप उस delusion से बाहर भी आ जाते हो और selfless बनना शुरू हो जाते हो. Unpurified ego is an evil which obstructs one's own progress, but the purified ego is a means in discriminating real self from not self, real self from a mere self. No one can expand his consciousness if he remains egoistical. Those who build boundaries around themselves because of the ego, problems invariably create suffering for themselves. But those who try to constantly aware of the unity with others can remain happy and fearless, enjoying every moment of life. Those who are selfless, humble, and loving are the true benefactors of humanity. तो इस चैप्टर में क्या सीखा? बस यही कि ठीक है, ईगो को फीड नहीं करना, सत्संग में पार होती है, सरेंडर करना चाहिए, और हमारी कॉन्शियसनेस को यही एक्सपैंड करती है. सो ईगो को तो हम कहेंगे जस्ट लेट इट गो. ओके, द नेक्स्ट इज द पाथ ऑफ डायरेक्ट एक्सपीरियंस, जिसको मैं कहूंगी, जो गुरुजी कहते हैं डायरेक्ट कनेक्शन. ठीक है ना, हमें देखो, हमें बुक से भी नॉलेज मिल जाएगी, जो मर्जी कर ले, जब तक हम स्वयं एफर्ट नहीं करेंगे, स्वयं नहीं बैठेंगे, तो वही तो है ना डायरेक्ट कनेक्शन. डायरेक्ट हम किसी से भी कुछ सुन ले, ऐसा होता है, ऐसा होता है, जब हमारे साथ खुद डायरेक्ट कनेक्शन से सब कुछ होता है ना, वो हमारा अपना एक्सपीरियंस होता है, विच कैन ओनली बी फेल्ट. Okay, the path of direct experience. Direct experience is the highest of all ways of getting knowledge. All other means are only fragments. In the path of self-realization, purity, one-pointedness, and control of the mind are essentials. An impure mind hallucinates and creates obstructions, but an orderly mind is an instrument for direct experiences. तो mind अपने आप order में आ जाता है जब गुरुजी की कृपा होने लगती है. Okay, the next chapter is, I think I can read it. Yeah. Direct experience alone is the means. So Swami ji kya कहते हैं? कहते हैं, one day my master told me to sit down. He asked, are you a learned boy? I could say anything to him, however outrageous. तो इतनी लिबर्टी है स्वामी जी के पास, तो कुछ ना कुछ होगा. मुझे लगता है कि मास्टर को वो पिछले जन्मों से जानती होगी, पता होगी, तभी उन्होंने उसको मतलब एज अ रूह चुना कि अब ये इन पेरेंट्स के थ्रू आएंगे, थ्रू यू नो ये पैदा होंगे. तो स्वामी जी के पास बहुत लिबर्टी थी. कोई भी outrageous questions कुछ भी हो, he could just ask. He didn't have to even mince his words. One day my master told me to sit down. He asked, are you a learned boy? I could say anything to him, however outrageous. It was the only place where I could be completely frank. I was never sorry, no matter what I told him. He used to enjoy my foolishness. I replied, of course, I'm learned. He asked, what have you learned? And who taught you? Explain it to me. Our mother is our first teacher, then our father, and then our brothers and sisters. Later we learn from children with whom we play, from teachers at school, and from the writers of books. No matter what you have learned, you have not learned a single thing independently of others. So far, all that you have learned is a contribution from others. And from whom have they learned? They have also learned from others. Yet as a result of all this, you call yourself learned? I pity you, because you have not learned anything independently. You have apparently concluded that there is no such thing as independent learning in the world. Your ideas are the ideas of others. I said, wait a minute, let me think. It was a shocking realization that whatever I've learned was nothing of my own. If you put yourself in my place, and you may well have the same feeling, the knowledge on which you depend is not at all your knowledge. That is why it is not satisfying, no matter how much of it you possess. Even if you have mastered an entire library, you will never satisfy. Then how can I be enlightened? I asked. He said, by experimenting with this knowledge that you have acquired from outside, find out for yourself with the help of your direct experience. Finally, you will come to a conclusive and fruitful stage of knowledge. All knowing is in vain if it's not direct. Indirect knowledge is, of course, informative, but not fulfilling. All wise people throughout history have gone through great pains in order to know truth directly. They were not satisfied the mere opinion of others. They were not frightened off from this quest by the defenders of orthodoxy and dogma, who persecuted and sometimes even executed them because their conclusions were different. Since that time, I've tried to follow his advice. I found that direct experience is the final test of the validity of knowledge. When you have known truth directly, you have the best kind of confirmation. Most of you go to your friends and give your viewpoint. you are seeking confirmation in the opinions. Whatever you think, you want others to confirm it by agreeing with you to say, yes, what you think is right. But somebody else's opinion is no test of truth. When you know truth directly, you do not need to ask your neighbors or your teacher. You don't have to seek confirmation in books. Spiritual truth does need an external witness. As long as you doubt, it means you have yet to know. Tread the path of direct experience until you attain that state where everything is clear, until all your doubts are resolved. Direct experience alone has access to the source of real knowledge. तो इस चैप्टर में हमने क्या पढ़ा, यही है ना. देखो ये तो सबके साथ ही होता है. हम बचपन में स्कूल जाते हैं, माता पिता से सीखते हैं, रिश्तेदारों से, फैमिली से, सिबलिंग से, अच्छा किताबों से भी, किसी से भी सीख लें. वो जो हमारी हाँ, कई बार ऐसे जरूर कोई ऐसे पैदा होते हैं जिनके अपने पूर्व जन्मों के संस्कार साथ में लेके आते हैं, उनको सब कुछ पहले ही पता होता है. सो ये बिल्कुल ठीक बात है. तभी मैं तो इसको इस तरह से लूंगी कि यस, आप चाहे जिसी से भी कुछ मर्जी एक्सपीरियंस भी सुन लें, जब आप डायरेक्टली गुरुजी के साथ बैठोगे ना, वो आपका डायरेक्ट एक्सपीरियंस होगा. उसमें आपको किसी से ओपिनियन मांगने की जरूरत नहीं है. इट्स बिटवीन यू एंड योर गुरुजी. सो डेफिनेटली हर सत्संग भी सुनने चाहिए, हर चीज है. जैसे हम अभी किताब पढ़ भी रहे हैं, सिर्फ ये किताब पढ़ने का मकसद नहीं है, इससे हमने मेन चीजें इम्बाइब करनी है, इसीलिए गुरुजी हमें पढ़ा रहे हैं. I know some things might sound complex, but we have to just take the main things, so that it makes our life better. But yes, with that we must all sit for our Guruji, and we should have a direct, blissful experience with her. So on that note, thank you Sangat ji, Ekta ji, Shilpi ji, thank you ji for beautiful reading today, which Guruji made possible. Or thank you so very much. Thank you Sangat ji.
Thank you, Auntie. Jai Guruji. Shukrana, Guruji.